Welcome, Aries, to your September 2021 reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James. For those who are stopping by for the first time, pleasure to meet you. And to the subscribers, much love and affection to you always. I've done some personal readings for many of you during the last month, and details of that from anywhere in the world can be seen in the description box below. But now we are going to choose 5 cards, because 5, don't you think, are all we need? Because for you and I, they are jam-packed, full of information. So let's get them underway. These playing cards that I have here don't form part of the reading, but they do provide a significant amount of energy, which also assists at a root level the meaning. I use playing cards very often in my personal readings. This deck in particular is accurate beyond belief. Now, let's get something underway, shall we? Let's see what you have up first. It is this one, the Server of Swords. Now, the names, it seems, are different in this deck to those that we usually find, but that doesn't matter. We'll work our way through it. The Master of Cups. This one is the Five of Cups. 2 more, then we're done. And we'll see what they have to say for you, see what they have to tell me. And you and I together can look at the artwork on it, and I'll do the reading for you. So let's see what that one is. The High Priestess. My goodness, what a lovely painting. The paintings in these are all original, hand done, and they are a credit to the artist whose name escapes me, but nevertheless. And finally, there is the Sun. Perfect. Well, why don't you come down now, sit down here next to me. We'll have a good look at the artwork on the cards together while I do the reading for you. Then I should be able to see these cards are throwing up a lot of very warm messages for you, I think. They want to have a conversation with you. So let's have a look to see what they are, what warm messages they have for you here. This is referred to as abiding with love, the Master of Cups. Well, I would call her the Lady of Waves and Waters, the ruler of the hosts of the sea. Now, in the picture, the woman sits in a cave, doesn't she, with power objects and animals around her. These tell us what she is connected to. The turtle represents Mother Earth, and the planets in the background, I think what they do is they symbolize the larger cosmos. The pictographs on the back of the cave represent the ancestors. Now, the ancestors are important because mastery in this realm always involves understanding our family of origin, as well as our past lives and karmic story. The master, and in this sense I take it as being someone who is in control, holds all of this, as well as every emotion that arises within a larger field of love. Now, there are patterns coming from the woman's stomach here called the flower of life. This is the geometric pattern underlying all of life, and all the other basic geometric forms can be found within it. Let me just pull that out for you there. It is also sometimes called the hologram of love. Now, when you become a master in the emotional realm, you know that everything is permeated with love, and that the very fabric of the universe is love. The fact that this pattern is radiating from the woman's stomach area tells you that this is an embodied love rather than an abstract love. This is around you this month. This energy is not so much about feeling love or philosophizing about it, but about living love. It is appropriate, I think, then, that this pattern radiates from the solar plexus, your power center, because love is more powerful than any other state of force in existence. Now, despite the fact that she is sitting in water, which symbolizes the emotional realm, The woman's posture is stable, once more communicating a grounded quality. Her love isn't airy-fairy, but it is practical. She can dispense tough love as well when it's required, just as she can the softer versions. Now, where you get into trouble is when you try to manufacture love. Any love that you put on is likely to be false. To reach a more genuine love, you have to purify whatever blocks love, for love is your ground and true nature. And you work through layers of habit and character structure so that you can rest in the one thing that will never perish. I'm also getting a lot of Pisces and Aquarius around here, so these people could well be important to you during this period, you know. I'm also getting the feeling of a commitment issue, either with yourself or with someone else. Does someone have a commitment problem? There's also someone around you, I think, who is friendly but passive, somebody who is attracted to excitement and can take on a sort of impossible to sustain enthusiasm about people or projects. Now, they are a person, it could be another person who is sensitive, you think, but actually they're quite shallow. Now, let's have a look at the Five of Cups that's here. This is Scorpio. Now, I have Mars in the numerology of the card here, fiery, aggressive. And I have, for me, astrologically, this is Mars ruling the first decan of Scorpio. Now, they call this natural intimacy. What can I make of natural intimacy? Well, I guess it's because of its sense of comfortable sexuality and ease with which various energies circulate. You can see that the woman in the painting here is unself-consciously naked and in natural intimacy with the world around her. Her male counterparts are the stag, a symbol of virile male energy, and the nature god Pan, who embodies an earthly sensuality. Do you know, back in the early days, in the first millennium, threatened by Pan and what he was thought to represent, the early Christians created a shadow reflection of him, converting his image into what we today would recognize as the devil, just as the Christians distorted the image of Pan. And by the way, I have nothing against Christians or Christianity. I'm just talking about the historical features here. You appreciate that, I know. Well, sometimes we can find that we can distort our natural sexuality into something used to manipulate people. Now, one expression of this, I suppose, is what I would call the seductive strategy. It takes a little different form in women than in men, but in both, sexual attractiveness and charm are used to bolster a sense of value or to exercise power and to gain or substitute for love. It's easy to lose sight of the fact that while all that sexiness looks intimate, it's really not. It's a cover, a convenient mask. Any feelings of real vulnerability are quickly hidden. Now, men employing the seductive strategy often become pursuers, making advances towards others for the sake of engaging sexually, but without showing up for real emotional contact. This lack of presence and the insecurity that lies beneath it prevents them from getting the real nourishment that sexual contact can bring. The pattern can become repetitive, leading to a string of conquests that are empty of fulfillment. Now, the seductive woman, on the other hand, may appear to be a bit more passive, luring her suitor through her appearance. I always think it's women who do the choosing anyway, myself. And she can often doll herself up, so to speak, changing her earthly physicality into something more plastic. She tries to look better than she actually feels. Now, there is a great deal of power in being desired, and those using the seductive strategy capitalize on that. Using seduction to pull the strings of others' desires is not honoring the other, but it is using them. I think this energy invites you to learn more about how you navigate these waters. If you often sexualize your connections, maybe consider a period where you don't. Become celibate, God forbid, or refrain from seductive behavior to find out what this strategy is hiding. Now consider how you feel about your desirability separate from the sexual value that others assign to you. Are you being seductive in order to have sexual contact, or do you want something else? If you engage in the seductive strategy, don't judge yourself, but rather hold yourself tightly and compassionately. The root of this strategy, this seductive strategy, you see, is often a lack of self-love. Perhaps you learn the other way and cover up your sexual attractiveness altogether, diminishing your contact with your natural sexuality. This could have been the result of sexual harassment or violation, or early conditioning when you were a child, or simply being disconnected from your body, but you must be physically and psychologically comfortable enough to express yourself honestly if you are to achieve natural intimacy. Let's have a look at this card here, which is the Server of Swords, and it says, cutting away from illusion. What a very, very great painting. Well, what can we say about this? Cutting away from illusions. Well, I think here the Server of Swords wields the sword in the service of truth. He uses discriminating awareness to see what is false and combines this with good communication skills to confront others on their personal baggage. Now, while the sword is often seen as a means of self-protection, here, I think, you might be using it to free others from their illusions. The Server of Swords here is a warrior, not an aggressive warrior, but a spiritual one, I think. The Server is a warrior because he is willing to do battle rather than stay comfortable or safe. He is willing to put himself out for the sake of a larger cause. Now, although I'm using the masculine pronoun he here in keeping with the male image in this card, we can all embody this energy. In the picture, the man has taken a stance with his feet planted firmly on the ground, and his sword is drawn ready to cut away illusion. What else have you got to tell me here, my friend? I think he also says that I represent the art of skillful confrontation. It is about helping others see where they are not free. This guy seeks only that others see the truth more clearly. Whether or not they want to change, of course, is up to them. Now, if you're thinking about skillful confrontation, begin first by using the sword of discriminating awareness on yourself. Look at what motivates you. What do you hope to gain? If you feel a big emotional charge, find out what it's about. Feel into your relationship with the person and make sure you're feeling more compassion than judgment. You earn the right to confront others by earning their trust. Only when they know that you are not out to hurt them, but rather hold their highest good in mind, then they'll be able to receive your truth without defending. It's also important to ask permission to confront, especially in peer-to-peer relationships, and timing is all important. This server wields the sword without shaming or blaming, and with a precision that is just right for breaking apart old structures and beliefs. This card says you need to confront someone in your life. It may also be that you may need to confront yourself. Take the time to get clear and to practice your communication skills if you're uncertain. Although skill is a big part of wielding the sword proficiently, what keeps the sword sharp is awareness training. It is awareness that allows you to see the underlying dynamics, including your own motivations and distortions, and how to best sever the bonds of illusion. If you need to confront someone in your life, practice first with visualization. Imagine yourself standing firmly on the ground, connected to the energies of the earth. Open your heart to the person you wish to confront. See clearly what you perceive his or her distortion to be. And imagine speaking your truth in a voice that is gentle and loving, yet clear and firm. And listen to their response with an open heart. Now, this high priestess down here is calling out to be looked at, so let's look at her. Hello, high priestess. How are you, my darling? What do you have to tell my friend here? What is it that you have to say? What's that? That's a bit of that stick. There we go. Make it a bit easier for you so you don't get distracted by my... Now let's have a look here. Well, in this painting, she is lifting up a veil, isn't she? See this veil that's being lifted up here? Now, you might think this as lifting the veil so that the mysteries behind it can be seen, I think. It is twilight, the crack between the worlds, and the perfect symbol for bringing mystical consciousness into daily life. Now, if you look carefully, you'll see several moons on her veil. See, there's one, there's another one. I think they're all over the place. There's one, there's another one. See those moons on her veil there? Well, like twilight, the moon stands between darkness and light. It cycles between the two and is a symbol of change. Change is much more of a central component of feminine consciousness, I think, than of masculine consciousness. Rather than deal with fixed patterns, the high priestess works with the change that flows through everything. This is also reflected in the spiraling galaxy that is present in her womb, showing how great the creativity of feminine consciousness is. Now, the high priestess here, she is a channel for higher consciousness and higher wisdom. And like the priests and priestesses of old, she metaphorically brings this wisdom down from above and makes it available to those for whom the connection is less clear. Her gifts are not for her alone, but in the service of the greater good. The high priestess is sometimes seen as a feminine counterpart to the magician. I don't agree with that. I just mention it for you, because you'll probably come across it. Yet, her concern, you see, for me, is not so much manifesting in the physical world as it is playing with the magic of the invisible worlds. She is interested in archetypes and astrology and dreaming and all sorts of ways the invisible world enters into your life. In these, she is accomplished. She is expert at opening herself to the higher realms and bringing this knowledge into the world. Now, this may take the form of prophecy, and divination. You might find a great degree of psychic awareness about you during this period. She can also be a sage and a spiritual counselor, and I see you doing counseling for people during this period. You'll have a very good insight into what is going on into other people's headspace. Now, aligned as she is with sacred purpose, her line to the divine is open and her reception is clear. And I want to make this clear to you. Your line to the divine is open. Now, she is both high priestess and follower, I think, for she devotes herself to following the guidance and inspiration she receives, and thus as a model living in accordance with intuitive wisdom. And she may use this in her work as a healer, as a teacher, as a nurse, as an artist, as a visionary, or she may simply be working with this in her personal life around the home or around the garden. It is important to her to pay attention and live in a conscious way. For her to go on automatic or to push too hard is destructive because it cuts her off from her deeper knowing. The more closely she aligns with this knowing, the better her life goes. Now, in a more general way, I suppose this energy represents the feminine mode of consciousness. It is the receptive, intuitive mind, what we might call moon consciousness. There isn't a lot of support for this, sadly, in the modern world, but that doesn't matter to the High Priestess, because she is unconcerned with the ways of humans. Her loyalty is to the universal laws that run much deeper. Now, I think that leaves us with the Sun card here. I have very much a feeling here that things are turning around for you now. You've had something of a hard stretch recently, haven't you? Now, the light of the sun is going to illuminate your way forward. Now, here in this painting, there are two people, see them down the bottom here? Two people honoring the sun element, and it's personified here as the sun goddess. There is a sun at the top of her head, and that's coming through her crown chakra, and a sun in her solar plexus, which you'll see just there. Now, the solar plexus is your power center, your body's sun, if you like, and it enables you to power around in life. When your solar plexus is really open and the energy is flowing, it's not at all hard to get things done. This card represents access to dynamic and creative energy. At its deepest level, this is source energy. Now, it may be experienced as light, consciousness, presence, or aliveness, just feeling alive and living. And I think what will happen here is that you will have a joie de vivre, a lustful life, a desire to enjoy things around you. Because when you are in touch with your sun energy, you are being yourself in a way that is natural and empowered. There is no shyness or holding back. You let yourself shine. Now, this sometimes isn't easy for you, particularly if you haven't been used to it. But you may be used to habitually muting yourself or holding yourself back, holding your light under a bushel without noticing how much you do this. To claim your light is therefore a sort of a revolutionary act. You have to care more about being who you are than what others think of you and the ceilings that others might like to impose. Most of all, you have to continually break through the ceiling that you impose upon yourself. There is a great freedom in this. As you burn through the character structure that accumulates with age, you return to an experience that is fresh and youthful. Now, often in tarot decks, the Sun card has images of little children, doesn't it? Little toddlers, very often depicted as twins. And this depicts the more pure and innocent state. Well, in this sense, the Sun represents original nature. It is who you are before all the conditioning and before all the self-talk that you put in upon yourself. So to return to this more free and radiant being, you must peel away the layers laid on top of it, just as clouds block the sun in the sky, the congested mind. And congested mind states, they block your inner sun. Very, very, very great deck of cards, spread of cards for you this month. Good job, well done. That's it for you this month. Well, what a fantastic month for you. Great to see you again, and thank you very much for watching. It's a pleasure to be doing this with you. I do like that. And if you did like it, please do me the favor of hitting the like button. The YouTube gods like that, and it enables other people to maybe have a look at the video and enjoy what we enjoy doing ourselves. This is going to be a good month for you. I think you've got plenty to be looking forward to and things to do. So that has been food for thought, and you get together and remember this, and remember one thing always, and it is that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. So until then, it's bye for now.